Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Xinfin Network, aka XDC. So with that being said, let's just dive on in and let's start off with a few things. So I do want to address what has happened this month because it has been a little bit of time since I've made an XDC video, but we have started to see some pretty big moves being made on the trade finance front, on the tokenization front, and also even beyond that. I'm going to start off talking about the TFDI because this has been, one of those organizations that we have been talking about for a while when it comes to trade finance and XDC, because again, XDC is a crucial piece with the TFDI, and they just recently expanded with some very large players joining them. And also, by the way, there is a blockchain company, Voyo, I believe, or Voy, that joined this, but some pretty big names here. We've talked about some of these names as well in the past. So love to see this. Again, collaboration is crucial when it comes to trade finance, especially when we are talking about, the global span of trade finance, which again, we've always kind of addressed when it comes to Andre Casterman and what he actually looks at when it does come to trade finance and really kind of revolutionizing this space. He always says that collaboration is best because at the end of the day, it's not just going to be a one size fits all approach. There needs to be other players tied to this. And this is also why I say, even with XRP, when everyone talks about all the money and XRP targeting cross-border payments, it's like, oh, XRP is the only player here. No, there's multiple ones. And it means that collaboration is going to happen. The private and the public sector are all collaborating together on this massive opportunity, which is, of course, digitalizing everything, making sure that our rails are running on DLT blockchain, and how all of these other major industries like trade finance, for an example, are also being revolutionized by that. But beyond this, we also seen a great post by Now Payments as well, which, by the way, for those that don't know about Now Payments, well, they have a massive exchange, but they also have 70,000 plus followers. They're actually a pretty big player in the space, but they did say, are you an iGaming business looking to level up your payment system? Here are 5 compelling reasons why XDC Payments should be on your radar. Now, again, as we look at the gaming sector, it's still very well nascent in this space. I do think that eventually we will start to see the gaming sector kind of grow a little bit more. But again, this is not something that gets me very excited. But again, more eyes on XDC, and it does kind of give us an in-depth view on how disruptive XDC actually is for payments as well. So first off, faster transactions with XDC Payments say goodbye to lengthy payment processing times. Transactions on the XDC network are lightning fast, ensuring seamless and efficient transactions for your iGaming project. Lower fees. One of the biggest advantages of using XDC Payments for your iGaming project is the significantly lower transaction fees. By bypassing traditional financial intermediaries, you could save on high fees and redirect those savings towards growing your business. Enhanced security. The XDC network leverages advanced blockchain technology to provide robust security for your iGaming project. Enjoy the benefits of immutability, transparency, and protection against fraud, ensuring peace of mind for both you and your users. And then, of course, we see global accessibility. Expand your reach and tap into the global market with XDC Payments. The decentralized nature of XDC Network enables borderless transactions, allowing users from anywhere in the world to easily participate in your iGaming project. Seamless integration with Now Payments, user-friendly interface, and developer-friendly API. You can seamlessly incorporate XDC Payments into your existing infrastructure, providing a hassle-free payment experience for your users. So very exciting. Listen, this is great exposure. It's great for individuals to learn a little bit more about XDC, but also as we do look at, the other fronts that XDC is targeting, gaming is another great sector. We've talked about this even with Hedera, right? Because Hedera has been targeting everything. They have become the major player behind Web3 in just a short amount of time. So as we really kind of look at this, I think that this is great. I think that's great for exposure. And I also do think that XDC will most likely be seeing some adoption from the gaming side of things. But also beyond this, we also seen a weekly update from October 29th through November 4th. Now, the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because of a few updates within this. And the first one that we do see here is a major milestone for the XDC network was achieved as XDC Trade Network facilitated the conversion of traditional bills of lading to their digital counterparts, EBLs, enhancing trade finance with vital capital structure, which, by the way, this is that update from October 30th. I'm pretty sure I included this in my latest XDC video, but there has been some great collaboration here. You can see all of the major names tied to this. For example, you have TradeFlow Capital Management, Propine, you have TradeFinix as well. And then also down here, you have XDC Trade Network, DocuTrade by YotaPlus, and then also even Trade Trust Utility by IMDA. So again, a lot of players are tied to these major initiatives, but things are definitely moving on that front. But beyond that, as a fintech partner, Xinfin Official and also XVC Tech brought the XDC network to the forefront at Hong Kong Fintech Week 2023. Now, what's interesting about this event, so you can see some of the pictures here if you guys did want to check that out. But what's interesting about this event is all of the major players that were at this event. For an example, we actually have an image of the event from a Neri merchant. I hope that I'm saying that name correctly, but we're just excited to be part of the Hong Kong Fintech Week 2023. Check out all of the players that were here. So on the right side, you can see all of the major sponsors. You can see some of the big players there. For example, Citi, DBS, you have HSBC as well, which recently just announced custody services with Medico. At the bottom there, actually talking about Medico, you have Ripple with XDC. With FIS, you have Ernst & Young, you have Google. There's so many big names here. You even have DLA Piper, which is tied back to Hedera. You have JP Morgan. Very exciting stuff here. And, you know, this has been one thing that I've been focused on is these big events where you have global leaders from around the world. On this one, you can actually see a little bit more in depth. For an example, you have Visa here, you have the BIS. Again, like as we look at the world of crypto and digital assets, I mean, mass adoption's only one step away. And when I say one step away, I mean, it's truly just getting past compliance. Once we get compliance, that's it. We're done. So I'm very excited to see all of these big players tapping in and, you know, really kind of joining these big fintech meetings and conferences. Again, you know, digital assets and DLT, you can really kind of see how the overall buzz behind it is really kind of growing. But also beyond this, we've also seen this one, examining XDC Network's impact on the trade finance gap. And again, this was with Andre Kasserman with the TFDI, and this is actually talking about asset tokenization and its role in enhancing trade finance. We actually go over to this article, we could actually see the integration of technology is imperative to closing the trade finance gap. And it is $2.5 trillion, or at least it was in 2022. It was up from 1.7 trillion in 2020. So in 2 years, it roughly grew over $1 trillion. So I could just imagine where it's at right now. And this does go in depth on a few things. We actually talked a little bit about this in the most recent video as well. The only reason why I'm bringing this back up is because I actually want to talk to you guys about some tokenization efforts that are actually happening right now. But also, to really kind of wrap things up with this, we also seen one last major update from XDC, which was this one. And it wasn't so much XDC, but it was from an ecosystem partner, TradeTech. Basically, they added another member to its overall leadership team, who is Doris Young, and she's actually joining as a chief financial officer. And they are going to accelerate the expansion plans, both in Europe and also even in North America markets. So very exciting to see this. And we even see how their yield tech platform introduced the availability of tokenized US Treasury bonds on the XDC network. And also September saw the completion of its US $12.5 million A+ funding round with significant investment from venture capital and interlock partners. So very exciting stuff. And also the platform now services over 140 clients. So they are growing pretty quickly. Very excited to see the future of TradeTech really kind of, I would argue that it's going to expand with DLT. So as we start to see TradeTech expand, I do think that DLT, specifically XDC, is going to be exposed through a lot of this expansion. So I really kind of look forward to seeing that. But also Doris Young does come from a little bit of a substantial background. It's nothing too crazy, but she did work at KPMG UK for 8 years and 8 months as a senior manager, which is a pretty large company. But also beyond that, there's a few other ones here, but now she is the chief financial officer at, of course, TradeTech. Very exciting stuff. But also, what we did see with those US Treasuries in terms of tokenization was this article that got recently posted on the 11th. We do see US Treasuries are leading the charge in crypto's new frontier, the tokenization of real-world assets. The market has soared to $675 million, reshaping traditional and digital asset investment strategies. And again, this is already starting, right? Tokenization has already started. And what's crazy about this is I always say, like, once this does start, it's going to spread very fast. Now, one thing that gets me very excited about this, right, is that XDC has become a leader in terms of tokenization as well, just like XLM with Franklin Templeton. We also have, Ripple starting to expand on the tokenization front with, of course, the XRP Ledger. Also, Hedera. I mean, if you take a look at some of these utility gems this year, they have become major players in the tokenization world. But here we have, in the evolving landscape of traditional finance, the tokenization of real-world assets is gaining significant traction. CoinDesk highlights on U.S. Treasuries spearheading this movement echoes our recent discussion on the intersection of blockchain technology and traditional finance. Real-world assets are an object lesson, in the genius and power of the blockchain. In crossing both legal and technological frontiers, they have the potential to invigorate traditional finance and provide highly attractive new investment opportunities. And this is, of course, from the Law Commissioner of England and Wales, Sarah Green. So very exciting stuff. And again, now when we actually look at the article, U.S. Treasury Spearhead Tokenization Boom, we do see driven by favorable macro conditions and increased willingness among traders to dive into real world assets, the market for tokenized debt is flying. And what's crazy about this is, like, we just recently talked a little bit about this with Alliance Block. What's very exciting about this is that, one, the global debt is now at about roughly $307 trillion, as you guys do see here. And that was in this year alone. What's very interesting about this is, if we go back in time to May of 2021, there was this article that got posted by CoinDesk. And this is World Economic Forum, blockchain could disrupt $867 trillion in traditional markets. And when we scroll down here, we could actually see some of the markets that were really kind of being looked at in terms of seeing tokenization really kind of take off. And equity markets is one, debt markets is two, but it was at $106 trillion back in 2021. So in roughly 2 years, we've seen the debt market go all the way up to $307 trillion. It gained over $200 trillion in terms of value. And this is one market that is actually being looked at in terms of tokenization. So definitely very interesting to see things, expanding on that front, but also it shows you just how much money is out there and how much money will most likely be touched by tokenization in the near future. Like I said, I think that tokenization is already happening. And again, this is like from the World Economic Forum talking about this $867 trillion. I do think that once we start to see this technology fully embraced, I think that things are going to change very, very fast. And even recently, they did start to talk about, tokenization of equities as well. Remember the BlackRock news that happened? I think it was earlier this year. It might have been in 2022 now that I think about it. But again, Larry Fink talking about like how the next generation of, securities is tokenization. And even here, we do see like such thinking lurks behind a new report from the World Economic Forum, the organization whose annual meetings in Davos, Switzerland, has been, at least prior to the coronavirus pandemic, a venue of choice for the global financial and regulatory establishment. Board members include Christine Lagarde, Larry Fink. I mean, literally, like, these are all of the players that are behind some of the largest moves being made behind the financial sector. So as we look at the future here in terms of tokenization and DLT and blockchain, it's very bright, especially for those utility gems that are at the forefront of tokenization services, and also those that are actually willing to work with regulators and get compliance and things like that. Which, by the way, when I say that, I don't mean that Ripple didn't work with regulators. Like, in the US, there's a lot of problems. But outside of the US, like, we are seeing Ripple with XRP, we're seeing XDC, we're seeing Hedera, we're seeing all these players being embraced by the regulators. It's just only a matter of time until the US actually starts to embrace this technology and say, okay, yeah, we can't, stand to lose traction on this front. So I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for tokenization. Like I said, I mean, like, this is a $307 trillion market in terms of global debt. And I could just imagine how much this $867 trillion in terms of traditional markets is actually worth today. It's probably well over a quadrillion dollars. And I think that tokenization is probably going to really heat up next year, because I think that we're only going to continue to see the institutional side of things really kind of becoming a bigger hit. And I think that on that, we are also going to see some of these utility blockchains, like, for an example, XDC, being spotlighted because of their work already with regulators and with institutions, and also already being adopted in some big markets out there, like, for example, trade finance. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.